Everyone, welcome to Unveiling Beauty. This is episode 2, season 2. So glad for all of you to be joining us today. Just to remind everyone, we are streaming on the ultabeauty YouTube page as well as on Ammon and I's Facebook page. So make sure to check us out and share with all your friends. And with me today is Ammon Carver. How are you?
Hey, Nick. How's it going, buddy?
Good. Good to see you.
Good. You know, I thought today we would kick off our show with the story that I heard that just kind of tugged at the heartstrings, and I thought it was very appropriate. It's not related to the hair industry whatsoever, but I think it's just a good one to share to kind of like kick off our week and just make everybody feel good. So if you'll bear with me, I'd love to share this story that I just heard. It's about an 89-year-old man named Derlin Newey, who started late in his life. He started delivering pizzas because his Social Security wasn't enough to cover his bills. And this guy, while he was delivering pizzas, one of his regular customers that was ordering pizzas from him is a gentleman named Carlos Valdez. And Carlos thought that it was so cute with Derlin delivering the pizzas that he started filming TikTok videos of Derlin. Every time he would arrive with the pizza, he would create a TikTok video. Well, it turns out that Carlos has a pretty big following on TikTok. And so when he started sharing these pizza delivery, like it would say, "Hello, are you looking for some pizza?" And when he started sharing them with his 53,000 followers, all of his followers immediately fell in love with Derlin, but we're a little bit sentimental about the fact that, you know, this 89-year-old gentleman was having to deliver pizzas at that age to make ends meet. And so Carlos rallied his TikTok family, and they raised $12,000 and kind of flipped the switch and went and delivered it to Derlin Newey's house, and delivered him $12,000 to support and just show how much they appreciated him working and how much they appreciated the love that he was sharing by bringing them pizza. So just a cool story and a great way to kick it off by how we can use our influence and our impact on social media to change the lives of others. What do you think about that story?
I think that's super cool. But, you know, it's funny, as you're talking, and I love how, you know, they paid it forward and you get back to him. But I'm going to tell you something. I bet you at 89 years old, working, delivering pizzas is what's keeping him young. It's keeping him vibrant and keeping him active. And I tell you, I laugh about it all the time because everybody's like, "Oh, like, what is your age that you really want to retire?" And I'm like, I don't think I'm ever going to quite retire.
Do they know you?
I know, exactly. But I don't think anybody should retire 100% because I think you have to have a purpose and you have to connect with people and you have to engage and you still have to have that sense of belonging, purpose, and community. I think it's so important. So I think it's pretty cool, actually, that he's doing that.
I do too, but I'm also happy that they were able to raise some money for him, because you don't want somebody at that age either, like, you know, pinching pennies. It's like at that age, you know, like, do it because you want to, not because you have to. So grateful. So a big shout out to Carlos and all you guys and all the TikTok followers that helped him out. Just a great way to start the show. And speaking of the show, Nick, we have a really cool show planned for today. It's called Keeping That Color with two of my favorite people. We have Mr. Sean Godard on today, one of our Ulta Beauty Pro Team members and a Redken artist. And then we also have Alfredo Lewis, who is a Matrix VP Head of Education worldwide. So we have a pretty action-packed show for today. Should we welcome them to the show?
Well, we should, but before we do that, don't forget, we're also going to be doing a contest on the show today. So for those of you who are engaging, you're going to have an opportunity to win some cool Matrix and Redken hair color, but you have to jump back on and see Ammon and I tomorrow on our Instagram Live so that we can announce who the winner is, and also go back to your questions and make sure we answer those. So make sure you're engaging all day.
Good catch. Well, without further ado, let's bring the boys on. Sean and Alfredo, how are you, gentlemen?
Hey, how are you? It's so great to be back here on season 2. It's good to see you guys digitally.
It's good to see you too. I can't wait till we finally can do this in person.
It's so true.
Right? Hi, Nick and Ammon. I love that you feel that way, because you guys are two of my favorite people as well. So really happy to be here with you guys today on the show.
Thank you.
You kind of have to say that. It's our show, so we have to be your favorite people, at least for the,
I know, but
next hour.
You know it's true. You know it's true.
So, you know what, let's talk about, you know, today's episode is all about keeping up with the color, right? And it's all about like really maintaining color for your clients. So talk to us about what that means for you guys.
Well, I think first off, one of the most important things when it comes to maintenance is how is the color actually done to begin with, right? So if we're giving a client something that's a bit more lived in, like balayage looks or ombre type looks, those are going to have a lot more longevity than, let's say, if we do something that's more high impact, like color blocking or vivids or pastels or anything like that. So determining what is best suited for your client based on how often they want to come back into the salon, also budget, are two really important things to consider before you even begin your service.
So you know what, Sean, one of the things I want to point out is this season, we're also streaming on our Unveiling Beauty YouTube channel, where we have lots of consumers who have access to the show and want to get the inside scoop on the beauty business. So what are some tips that you're going to give the consumer around color?
Well, some tips that I'm going to give you the consumers around color is definitely some aftercare. So how can you care for it after your service has been done? There's lots of different ways and different methods depending on what type of hair color we're dealing with. So I'm going to break that down a little bit for you. And then for the professionals that are watching, I'm going to give you a really quick trick of how to be able to do a face frame effect with minimal sections and actually working with ponytails, which is a kind of an old school technique, but I realized recently that I've been playing around with it a lot more, and a lot of the younger stylists have not seen this. It's something that, had its moment for a while and people kind of forgot about it. So I've been really playing with that a lot more and have a lot better of understanding about it. So I want to be able to share those tips with everyone as well.
That's awesome. So before you jump in, Alfredo, same question for you. What are you seeing for easy tips and techniques around maintaining color?
Thanks, Nick. Well, for today, the technique I'm going to show everybody is like a T-top balayage technique. It's just a really great technique that I do a lot, like in a V-section free painting balayage. For your natural base, it can just add some really pops and beautiful hues of color, kind of like you've been on vacation or in the sun. But I think it's also really great for our gray coverage clients. It adds that beautiful dimension and just those really nice, beautiful, natural looking highlights. I loved everything you said, Sean. To me, consultation is so key at the beginning of a service to understand realistic expectations. Also, what is our client's lifestyle like? And I think that goes into, that the consumers watching and the clients. So I really want to share some inside tips and tricks on some of the aftercare that we have at Matrix, or really just aftercare in general of just key things that they should look out for. They're going to really help maintain that color, neutralize it, and keep it looking gorgeous until their next appointment.
All right, boys, we'll get to work. I'm going to fire another question at you.
All right, so let's get started.
You start.
No, I was going to say, here's my model, my mannequin for today. And so I pre-sectioned her for all the hair pros out there. This is going to be like an express face frame. So here is the end result in the background. You can see how this really gave her a nice brightness around the front. And the best part about this technique is there was no need to go back in and do a root shadow. I think a lot of the times we rely really heavily on a root shadow, but if you put in the technique the right way to begin with, it's going to grow out longer between the next visit and softer. So ponytails are a great way to do that. So what I've done is just went from ear to ear, working through the front of the head, and through the side section, I've taken all of the hair up into one ponytail. Now, placement is key with this. So this is over directing the hair up to the highest point. So remember, wherever you place your elastic, you want to think about, is it elevated above? If it's elevated more above the section, you're going to get softness to it. If you were to use this ponytail and place it down here, that's over directed down. So therefore, you're not going to get the softness. So remember, you always want to take these sections and elevate them up. So I have one on each side, all the way to the high point and to the front. That's where the color is going to connect the closest to this, right around the hairline. The next section is just through the top. What I've done is I've taken a section from the back and brought it right towards the center. That's going to give us two triangles on each side and secured each of those into their own ponytail. I want you guys to note, like, the elastic is all the way as close as I can to that front of that section. So keep that in mind. It's always about over direction with this technique, and where are you elevating or over directing to create the softness.
I love that. Alfredo, what are you up to?
So what I'm doing today is I said I'm doing like a balayage technique, a free painting open air technique. So I don't know if you can see right here, I've made some V sections and I already started my model. I love this. I wanted to get something that's really quick and easy for the stylists out there watching, colorists to do. Honestly, I could probably, in real life, I could have just started the model and done it, but I wanted you guys to see the pattern. It takes about maybe 20 to 30 minutes from start to finish for application. So this is great for somebody wanting to come in and just get like a really beautiful, quick pop of color. I think it's an easy way for colorists to make money in the salon really fast. or maybe if our client is rushed for time, but they want to see, you know, as much impact as they can in a short amount of time. So the reason why I call this T-top V balayage is I'll make a T here, and then this section I'll bring out. And the key to this is, if you notice my points here, here, and here, can you see that? So in the next section, just to get the maximum level of lift, I'll have my points be here and here. And I just alternate that through in just about 3 sections on the top of the head. And it just gives you like a really beautiful hue of color over the top. You can play with it if you want, like what Sean's talking about. I could come here in the underneath, and I could pull this piece as you see here and maybe do an underneath piece if you wanted a little more impact. Or you could paint a face frame. But honestly, sometimes I like to just do it over the top levels of the hair, just to have that really beautiful sun-kissed look, like they were, you know, in Hawaii or on vacation somewhere. Even now that we can't travel as much as we used to, at least we can have our hair looking like we did, right?
So true. Alfredo, talk to me about products that you would recommend for someone to maintain this color at home.
So a matrix, I actually have some with me. The key for me right now with clients that I'm talking about, there's really 3, but the one I really wanted to talk today about was our neutralization line. At Matrix, we have 3 main neutralization products in our Total Results line. I have Brass Off with me today. So Brass Off is like our middle product, I would say. We have Dark Envy. And Dark Envy, I got to give a shout out to Dark Envy. It just won the Allure Breakthrough Product Award. So that's pretty cool. So congratulations to Dark Envy by Total Results. And then we have Brass Off, and then we also have So Silver. So Silver is going to be for your lightest blondes. The way we break it down, and this is, I think, a real good trick, because the main thing I hear from our consumers sometimes is, which one do I get? Like, which one of these is best suited for my color? So if you're the client that's saying, you know, I see red all the time, as colorists out there watching, we all know that's like sometimes the last thing we want to hear from our client. They're going to want to use our Dark Envy line in the Total Results neutralization. If they say I see orange, that's like more of our blonde clients, sort of middle blonding clients. That's going to be Brass Off. And our lightest blondes, the other terrible words is I see yellow. So if we're saying I see yellow, you want to use the So Silver part of the neutralization line. If they're not looking for neutralization, because one thing to keep in mind about these products, it's not just for our color clients. We all know like oxidation happens from many things. It can happen from just the atmosphere, hot tools, sunlight. There's so many things that can affect, oxidation in hair. So these are actually good for anyone that's just seeing those unwanted tones in their hair. Once a week to start for our mask, where you get the most neutralization, about 5 to 10 minutes.
I love the way that you broke that down so that people know if this is what they're seeing, they already have an automatic reference point for what they can pick up. So stylists can recommend, but also any consumers that are now currently watching our Unveiling Beauty series can understand what they're seeing in their hair and what they should be reaching for. Sean, what about you? Talk to me a little bit about what you're doing. Like, who's asking for the type of color that you're putting on, and then what products would you recommend for her to take home?
Okay, great. So this type of effect is going to be great for a client that really only wants to come in, let's say even maybe it's just twice a year. So once at the beginning of each season. By doing this effect, it's going to allow her to give her a little bit of drama around the face. But because we're not doing anything right up in the root area, this will just grow out really softly and she won't have to worry too much about maintenance. Now, of course, for color care in between, like Alfredo was saying, the color is going to fade, it is going to change, and there's several reasons why that could happen. So, at Redken, we do also have the same options of having some color care. But what I want to talk about specifically with this client is if she's got longer hair, let's say, we know that hair tends to get damaged for multiple different reasons down the mid-lengths and ends. It can be heat styling, it can be from previous hair color. So one of my favorite lines right now, especially coming off the end of summer, is our Extreme Bleach Recovery. So these are 2 products in particular. There's a shampoo, but this one is something you want to use after the shampoo. It's the lamellar treatment. What this is, it's like a liquid Band-Aid. So when you put it on the hair, it instantly fills in all the holes and makes it feel slippery and smooth. So it's a really great tool for that. It also has a warming sensation. So for clients in the shower, it kind of heats up. And when you rinse it off, you'll instantly feel the smoothness and see the shine of the hair. Now, the second part is this leave-in treatment. So using this leave-in treatment instead of a heavier conditioner allows you to be able to have some styling manageability, but it's also going in, just like all of our Extreme line always does, it's going in and repairing the hair and strengthening it. So for that client that's, has that really long hair that does get sensitized on the ends, that is a great tool for them, no matter what color they are, whether they're blonde, whether they're caramel, whether they're even natural, it'll still have benefits for dealing with the hair. Now, for this technique, you can see how easy it is. All I'm taking is section by section pieces of that ponytail and placing them onto a foil and just gently blurring at the top. Now, what you want to keep in mind is you can go right up to the band if you want, or you can go down depending on how long the hair is. So the closer you go to the band, the more brightness you're going to get closer to the scalp or around the hairline. The product that I'm using, this is a high lift color. So this is Blonde Idol High Lift from Redken. So for clients out there that are looking to do a highlighted effect without using bleach, I know bleach can be a scary word to the consumer. We do have the opportunity to still be able to add dimension and pops of color in your hair with a high lift series in Redken. And then you'll be able to get the lift and deposit in your hair without having to worry about using bleach. So it's a great alternative for clients out there that are afraid of that.
So right now I'm actually on my last section. Like I said, this is like a really easy in-salon technique. And what I like to do in this section is kind of go by our client, which in this case is my mannequin, natural part of how she wears her hair. So maybe she's wearing it a little bit off center. And one thing a lot of people get afraid of, they definitely agree with Sean about that, the word bleach sometimes or lightener. But also sometimes for the stylist watching out there, for the professionals, they get afraid of this technique if they're not used to spray painting balayage. They're always like, how do you not get spots in the hair? How are you doing that? If you notice, I did use plastic on my first section. I did that on purpose. Like if you're just starting out, maybe you're, more foil or TV light, and you want to try doing this spray painting, I would suggest starting out using plastic, kind of like your training wheels. I rarely use that anymore unless the client's hair is like really, really fine, and I want to make sure that there's, no bleed marks. It's really consistency of like your lightener. So I always suggest, if you guys notice, you can see my lightener is kind of like Cool Whip. So I always say you want your lightener to be like what works for you. Some people like it a little thinner, but to me, if you don't want to use plastic or mesh or something to separate, you really want to have like a nice consistency of your lightener. I use Lightmaster, it has Bonder inside now by Matrix, but whatever lightener that you love, just really make sure that it has that nice consistency. Always make sure your brush is clean. I have a towel you can't see down here, but I'm constantly wiping my brush. Think of it like you're kind of painting on a picture, or, like the hair is your canvas. So you don't want to have a messy brush. That's another opportunity that you may have some bleed marks or lightener where you don't want it to be. And the last would be saturation. So I'm going into my last section, painting that V and just making sure that I have really evenly saturated hair from root to tip, bringing it to the center, a little bit of back brushing here to blend, and just making sure that you have that even saturation on every strand.
Alfredo, if someone's watching this that's a consumer and they're like, what would I even ask my stylist for? What would you suggest?
For this sort of a color technique?
Yeah.
I know. I love pictures personally. I know some colorists may not, because sometimes it's not a realistic picture. I think if you're good at, having those real conversations with your clients, if they bring you a picture and it's something that maybe whatever, there's going to be a lot of factors. Maybe it's the health of their hair at that moment. They're a new client. Maybe they have some sort of a color in their hair that we need to lift out. But I love pictures. At least I know what's in their mind. I know what their expectation is, and then we can have those real conversations. To me, that's really important with something like this. These looks, to me, the words that come to mind are like sun-kissed, natural looking highlight. I'd like to see some pops of color in my hair. I want to go lighter, but I don't want to go too drastic. We have those clients that come in and they're like, I want to go blonde, but I don't want to be Marilyn Monroe today, right? Or Lady Gaga. So those clients are like, okay, let me show you some really natural, beautiful highlights. If they do want to go really light and have a drastic transformation and everything's set to go that you feel confident that you can deliver that, to me, you're going to want to go more with like TV light foils. You're going to want to insulate that hair more and not do these sort of open air techniques that are of a more natural, gradual lightening technique.
So over on this side, what I'm going to show you, the professional stylist, is an alternate way to be able to do this technique. So on the first side, I put every single piece of hair in the foil. On this side, what I want to show you is how to be able to make it look a bit softer. So this is one piece I dropped down. The next piece now, instead of taking the slice off and putting it into the foil like I have been doing, what I'm actually going to do is take this and pull it aside and out of the way. So I've got a few pieces that I'm pulling off to the side. What that's going to do is keep dimension through the mid lengths and ends, because now the next piece I can bring back down and paint on like I was doing. And so in the end, the difference between these two will be that this side, everything will be very heavily lightened. This side will have more of a highlighted effect to it. So just depending on the look that you want to have with your client will determine how you're going to go about and do this technique. So again, this was working with the high lift hair color, so the Blonde Idol high lift, but you could also do this technique with lightener as well. And I want to give one last little tip here. So there I finished up in that first, in that ponytail right at the front of the face. So I can secure that over top. And then I'm just going to fold in each of the sides. And then obviously this would be in the client's face. So we want to make sure we get that out of the way. But what I want to show you is these are the sections on this side that were now left out. So this is your dimension that's going to be traveling through the hair. One final thing about this is, like, let's say the client has really high contrast. So their natural level is really dark and they don't want to see as much high contrast. We could now take these ends that are left out and just go in and do a little bit of that combing on them and tip out those ends. What that's going to do is break it up, but at a lower level. So your ponytails will be brought higher up. This will get the ends a little bit brighter and it will make it all live together. In the end, again, here is the result of this technique. And I did this with absolutely no root shadow. So you get this soft blend just by doing these ponytails. Now, consumers at home, what's an important thing is if you do a technique that's this low maintenance and you don't need to go to the salon very often, something you can do that's going to give your hair a complete overhaul is go into the salon and get a gloss with Shades EQ. So this is Redken Shades EQ. Your stylist can do this. It's a quick 20-minute process. It's not bad for the hair at all. It completely conditions, adds shine, and really can change the tone. So if it gets brassy, this is a great tool for that. And one final word of advice for people really looking to extend your color is remember washing your hair like obsessively is something that does fade color. So a great best friend will also be a dry shampoo. So using a dry shampoo, especially if you're doing more fashion colors, more ashier tones, or more pastel colors, a dry shampoo is going to be your best friend to be able to extend the life of that color.
Love that, love that. And by the way, Sean, your mannequin is giving me like Blake Lively realness. So beautiful. She looks so beautiful.
It looks like a wig that I'm ready to take off and wear, but it's attached, unfortunately.
That I can see, that I can see. No, thank you guys. Honestly, both excellent tips for pros in terms of the approach and low maintenance application techniques that they can put to use right away. So thumbs up to both of you on that. And also 2 thumbs up to both of you for bringing it to the consumer, helping them understand how they can maintain their hair color longer, whether it's from a toning perspective or just maintaining it from a overall health and wellness perspective and keeping the color looking perfect, keeping that color fresh. You guys did an excellent job. It was a pleasure having you on the show. Anything else you guys would like to say before we kick you off? No?
I was waiting for Alfredo, but I do have something to say. I'm going to give a shameless plug. So if you're a professional on there, definitely I have 2 more classes this month. So if you're looking for online learning, you can check out my page, and there's 2 opportunities coming up this month to learn more hair color for the salon professionals out there. But thank you guys for having me. It's always great to be on here.
Awesome.
And I just wanted to answer, like, for the clients that, just one more maybe consumer and hairstylist thing. I said once a week. So for what happens in between then, I love what Sean said about, the obsessive hair washers out there and how they need to have that realistic view that's going to affect their color. But what do you do when you're not neutralizing, or if you don't feel that you need to neutralize? One of our products, the Keep Me Vivid line, is great for maintenance. Using that, there's a shampoo, conditioner, and also like a laminate spray that you can put on the hair that locks in color for almost 30 washes. So I just wanted to plug that for Matrix. It's a great add-on to the neutralization line for at-home aftercare and for the client. So, but thank you so much for having me. It was great to be here with all of you guys. And Sean, you're one of my favorite people too. I didn't say that in the beginning. So it was fun. It was fun to be on with you three gentlemen today, and for us to have. I wish we could have been together, but it's fun to see your faces.
Well, thanks for spending some time with us. We'll see you soon, boys. Take care.
Take care.
Bye. Thank you. Take care.
All right. Ammon, one of my favorite parts of the show is all about spotlighting amazing talent. So talk about who we have on the show today.
Today, we have Marlena Godard coming to us from Baltimore. Marlena, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. Super excited to be here sharing the screen with all of these talented people today.
We're so happy to have you here. For sure. So, Marlena, tell us, how long have you been with Ulta Beauty?
So I have had quite a journey with Ulta Beauty. I am going on year 14 almost. I did take a little hiatus for a few years to kind of branch out and do my own thing. But, with doing that, you quickly realize how much you miss a culture, how much you really miss a sense of family and a sense of team, and really just a company who I feel like really cares about us as stylists. So back in action, really excited to be back now. But like I said, long journey that I just been so honored to encounter.
Love that. I love your transparency about that too, because honestly, it speaks very strongly to the way things are now and the culture that we've been working hard to make sure that we bring. So happy to have you back after your little hiatus. You went off to discover and realize that it's cool here. So I want to ask you a question that's directly related to the show that we have on hand called Keeping That Color. So what are some of your favorite color care tips and tricks that you give to your clients?
So first and foremost, kind of like the boys were saying earlier, definitely starts with that at-home maintenance. Excessive shampooing is going to be wreak havoc on your hair. But one of my favorite shampoos to recommend to my clients is the Redken Color Extend Magnetics. It's a sulfate-free shampoo that helps to really keep and extend the life of your color. And then I think the other culprit that I really explain to my clients that is going to dull their hair color or fade their hair color quickly is excessive heat. So it's really important to use a heat protectant product when you're blow drying and when you're doing your iron work to really help to block that heat from damaging the hair color that we just spent hours giving you at the salon.
That's awesome. I totally agree. It's all about really making sure you're using the right products to really keep that color looking amazing and keeping your hair looking healthy and shiny. So Marlena, tell everyone where they could find you on social media to follow all the great things you're doing.
Absolutely. You can find me on Instagram. It's @hairbymarlena. Really easy. I'm sure you'll pop it up on the screen so they can get the spelling correct. And that's going to be where I post most often. So go ahead and give me a follow so you can check out all the fun things I'm doing behind the chair and all my little videos and all the great things we do with Ulta.
That's so cool. And if somebody wants to book an appointment with you, where could they find you?
Absolutely. So I work in Baltimore City, right at the Canton Crossing location. Love that store. Love my team there. We're a group of really talented stylists who I just, love going into work when I get to do that one day behind the chair and spending time with them in the salon.
That's so cool. Well, thanks for being on today and thanks for being part of the Ulta family and sharing your passion. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you again so much for having me.
All right.
Thanks, Marlena.
Thank you.
Nick, I love that. I love doing these segments where then we're able to spotlight and bring somebody on board that has worked really hard, whether it be within the Ulta family or outside of the Ulta family, but just give somebody a little extra love and some spotlight for the work that they're doing out there. So that's one of my favorite segments too.
I
that we've added to the show.
So talk to me, Eamon, what could they expect in the next Unveiling Beauty?
So Unveiling Beauty next. So the next episode is going to be Get That Glow. So that's all about skin. And that's all I'm going to say about it because it has something special. But before we talk about the next one, I want to tease about tomorrow nights, right, Nick? So talk to us about, because our new cadence is on Monday nights we have this show, but then tomorrow night we've been doing a new fun thing. So let's talk about that first.
Yeah, so Ammon and I are going to pick up this show tomorrow, answer all the great questions. So if you haven't gotten your questions in there yet, make sure you get it into the chat area. We will pick it back up, take it over to Instagram tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central Time, where we could answer some questions a little bit more informal, more interactive, and just spend more time with you on another platform. So we look forward to that.
And that's what we've given away for all those people who have been engaging today. We've got the giveaways of the Matrix and Redken products that you heard about today on the show. And then like Nick said, next week we will be coming to you on Monday night, every Monday night, Unveiling Beauty series. And that'll be Get the Glow. So it'll be all about nighttime skincare, and we'll have special guests and some special stuff to talk about regarding our Breast Cancer Research Foundation work. Awesome. So until then,
I look forward to it. All right, everyone. That's a wrap. Have a great night. We'll see you again soon.
Bye, guys.